Juan Williams, Eric Bolling, Dana Perino, and Greg Gutfeld. It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The Five.
I've been with CPAC for a long time. All of these years we've been together, and now you finally have a president. Finally. Took you a long time. Took you a long time. And it's patriots like you that made it happen, believe me. They all underestimated the power of the people, you. And the people proved them totally wrong.
The 45th President of the United States firing up the crowd at CPAC today, the annual gathering of conservatives. He received a very warm welcome, and here's more words of optimism from the president to his energized party earlier.
But I'm here today to tell you what this movement means for the future of the Republican Party and for the future of America. The core conviction of our movement is that we are a nation that put and will put its own citizens first. Now is the time for action. We will cut wasteful spending. We will promote our values. We will rebuild our inner cities. We will bring back our jobs and our dreams. The GOP will be, from now on, the party also of the American worker. We have an amazing, strong, powerful party that truly does want to see America be great again, and it will see it, and it's going to see it a lot sooner than you think.
All right, so a lot more red meat today offered up from the 45th President of the United States, and people were hungry. They had an appetite for it. Eric, it went over very well with his base, much like we saw yesterday when Bannon spoke.
I couldn't believe he didn't get a standing ovation, though. I'm kidding. They stood, and he said, sit down. And they stood up again. He said, sit down. But the media wasn't going to report the standing ovation. Look,
because it was standing room only.
It was crowded. Dana's right. It was very crowded. I'll give you that. Look, it was. I didn't hear any new. There was any policy. It was firing up the people that love him, and that's what CPAC is. I found it interesting. He said, I'll be back as often as I can next year, the year after. That was promising. And I think that, and we touched on it a little bit yesterday. The CPAC crowd had been historically, or had been recently, very libertarian, leaning libertarian.
Sure.
I don't know that there's a lot of libertarianism in Donald Trump's policy, but this crowd loved him. They were engaged. They were clapping. They stood up. They yelled. They hooted. It was a hometown crowd.
Okay, all right, Dana, what did you make of it compared to years past?
Well, he didn't go last year, remember? I think.
No, but in terms of the crowd and enthusiasm.
Yeah, I think parties change and politics change, and some people are excited about it, and others are sort of reluctant, but maybe excited. I thought it was interesting today that one of the best things that he's done so far, in my opinion, has been his nomination of Neil Gorsuch, the Supreme Court nominee. And he didn't even mention it today, but I think that he would have gotten even more applause had he done so. And I think that nomination is assured to be confirmed. I think you even hear some whisperings from other Supreme Court justices who are
Ginsburg, right? You were telling me earlier.
That Ginsburg apparently thinks like he's a good guy, like he's qualified, and so I think that was something he could have done. The other thing is, I think this is sort of one of the last times, at least in a forum like this, where the president will give a speech that's sort of looking backwards as to the campaign, because starting on Tuesday night, when he will give a primetime address to a joint session of Congress, this is where he starts to put some meat on the bones of the policies he's been talking about. And so the speech next year that he gives, he's hoping, and I think maybe people that support him hope, that then he'll be able to tick off a few things that shows the accomplishments that he was able to make in that first year. So next year's speech will be very different to this one's.
All right, Greg, any highlights for you and something that perhaps he should have brought up or left out?
I thought his speech was the best speech since the Gettysburg Address. It was better. It was better. He makes Abe Lincoln sound like Abe Vigoda. That's how good he is.
Perfect. So you would have been standing.
Now, actually, the one thing I find refreshing,
so we wouldn't be able to see you.
For a first, it's a first that conservative gatherings aren't miserable. Because generally the audience is a good audience, but they always have people that are very dead serious. And to his credit, Trump brings humor and excitement to the group. So it's like what he does is he takes it's like The Five. It's like what we do for a living. We take really boring crap and we boil it down to like entertaining nuggets.
Yeah, wait till the C block.
Oh, I know. Obama. But anyway, but that's what he does. He takes stuff.
Exactly.
He takes stuff that has normally been presented as dry, and he boils it down to these little, sharp, funny nuggets where Obama had the soaring rhetoric. Trump has these like raw punchlines that you just kind of laugh and you go, fine, and you start looking around at the people that are around, and everybody seems to be having a good time. And I also thought there was an evolution in this speech where he mixed talking points and riffing off the script, which he's doing better. He's now playing rhythm and lead guitar as he plays all of his big hits, like, The Wall, Obamacare, and Fair Trade. Those are the classic ones that he does, as a medley. So
Everybody
I think
knows the words.
everybody knows the words, and they clap.
I like it when he goes lead, though. I like it when he goes off prompter and,
Yeah.
and just riffs and talks and. And he doesn't
Abe
hold
Lincoln
back.
couldn't do that.
He
Abe
doesn't hold back.
Needed a script.
And I realized in this speech today, maybe in others as well, the way he delivers a line, and not a policy line, not a written line, just the way he delivers it, it's the way everyone in that audience would be talking to a friend over a cup of coffee or over dinner. And I think that's why the billionaire from Madison or Fifth Avenue is the people's choice, the populist choice. How is that possible? Because he speaks the way they speak, the way we speak, not the way politicians speak.
Juan, does it work for you?
Wow, he's the populist choice. Let me just say, I don't think most Americans didn't vote for him, and if you look at the polls these days, wow, he's cratering. It's just not good. He's in the high 30s. No, you look at the Real Clear Politics average. I think it has in 38, 39, 40, something like that.
There's a
Disapproval in the
43
50s.
and there's a 55.
Hang on, let me just speak for a second. I know you don't like it, but come on. So it seems to me that today was more campaigning. It was another campaign speech. I wonder how many campaign speeches he's going to give.
A lot.
I mean, it
All
just
of
goes
them?
on and on.
Yeah.
And
All of
then
them.
it is stream of consciousness. But you know what? At some point, I was expecting he'd be presidential. He would start to act like the president of the United States.
When would you expect that?
I had expected it actually after he won.
Everyone told you he was going to be Donald Trump. He wasn't going to be yet another.
No. He said, He said, I'm going to be so presidential.
Saying that
Didn't he say that,
he
Eric?
can't win the general election unless he pivots to become more presidential.
Eric.
Everyone said, don't do that. You won the primary.
He
You're
won.
going to win
He
unbeaten
won,
Donald Trump.
and then he said to all of us, and I believe he said, and you heard it, I'm going to be so presidential, you're going to not believe it.
You know what's great about these
but
speeches?
But he's not presidential.
These speeches, they create two competing realities. You can have two groups of people who see two completely different things.
Right.
Somebody says, this is fun, it's great. Another person says, that is a load of crap. And somewhere it's in the middle. Life is in the middle of both extremes. And we got to stop, we got to stop saying he's the worst guy in the world and he's the greatest guy in the world, because you're actually just canceling each other out.
Is that
The
what it
people
is?
who
Not
don't
these
like
two.
him say he's got to pivot, he's got to change.
No.
Meanwhile,
He's not going to do
Here,
that.
stock
Never
market's
see
making
that.
record
If
highs
he wants
and-
to speak directly and off the cuff and go after everybody, right, and say things that really aren't true, okay, but at least I want to have confidence in the president that he's governing, that he's got control of the country. And when he does stuff like today about, I was right about Sweden, as the nasty press was wrong, and there were
Right.
riots after, you think to yourself,
this is
hey,
CPAC,
there was
it's not
no
the State
terror
of the
attack in
Union.
Sweden.
That's not what he meant,
I-
though. You know that's
No,
not what he meant.
that is
He
what
was
he
talking about what's happening in there, an immigrant crisis is what he was referring
And there
to.
was no
and it turned out he was right.
No,
Which is
he
why
was right about-
all the mockery
No,
went
he
away the
wasn't.
next day.
That's not. You're kidding me. The mockery.
Swedish
is very
politicians
real.
backed him up.
No, they did
The two
not.
leading Democrats did.
There's
In the
a lot-
Wall-
there's a lot of
Let
problems
me give you
in
an article
Sweden.
from the
Let's
Wall
just
Street
put it that
Journal.
way.
Okay. No, I saw what you're talking about, but I don't
lot.
think anybody backed him up on this.
All right. Tighten it up here, Juan. The president took another opportunity today to share his feelings about the mainstream media. Here's that.
And I want you all to know that we are fighting the fake news. It's fake, phony, fake. A few days ago, I called the fake news the enemy of the people, and they are. They are the enemy of the people because they have no sources. They just make them up when there are none. But I am only against the fake news media or press. Fake.
All right. A few hours later, more tensions unfolded with the press after CNN, the New York Times, and other news outlets were kept out of a White House gaggle today. So, Dana, this was a kind of big breaking news throughout the day. A lot of people talking about it. What do you think happened here? And did you ever do that?
I'm not exactly sure what happened. I mean, I've sort of read the reports about it. I agree with Bret Baier, who's the chief chief political correspondent here and the anchor of Special Report, that a gaggle is open for everybody. A gaggle, all it basically is a press briefing without a camera.
Sure.
That's what it is. Like, you could have different meetings for different people. I think one of the problems is a couple. One, they said there would be a gaggle today and everyone was invited. Then they changed that, and then they only called certain news outlets to say that you're invited. Then some reporters got in there like, wait, why aren't those other people here?
Sure.
And then it became a whole thing. So it becomes like a whole story, and it steps on the message for the weekend, because even though they might think that it makes them look strong because they're punching back against the mainstream media, I actually think that it was a stumble. I don't think it'll happen again. I could be wrong. I think that they should feel confident in their answers and be able to answer them, because now what you have is other reporters saying, well, I wouldn't do that.
Sure.
And when in 2009, President Obama tried to get Fox News blocked.
And that's what
from
Brett
some
Baer was
coverage,
referring to.
and other outlets there said, oh, no, you're not able to do that. We know you don't like Fox News or what they say, but that's not going to stand with us.
Right.
And so I think that it won't happen again, but
Now you favored it,
embrace the chaos.
but not you didn't retweet that.
well,
You
the other thing,
favored and
can I say
retweeted.
just one other thing about one of the things Ari Fleischer, former press secretary, said was that you can't have. There are instances where you have briefings where you might just invite a few reporters. And way back when the news weeklies were actual weeklies, I remember the White House communications director would meet with them. I think it was every Thursday, so that we could try to shape the message for those news magazines that came out on Sundays. As soon as the 24/7 news cycle took hold, that went away. It wasn't necessary anymore. So I don't think that reasoning or excuse actually holds up.
Look,
in this case.
I do not see the big deal. I'm not allowed in the women's locker room at Gold's Gym. It's not that I'm uninvited or barred. I'm just not allowed in there. I don't see the point in this. Also, you got to imagine.
Invited.
That absolutely makes no sense.
I
No,
know.
it was
You-
just
You
ridiculous.
got to imagine.
Because you are allowed.
No, I'm not in the girls' locker room. Imagine the guys or the women, the men, and the other reporters that are already in there and wondering where the other people are. It's like when somebody says they're having a bunch of people over, and you show up and you're the only person. Have you ever done that?
Or the time you were disinvited from Dana's Thanksgiving soiree.
Oh yeah, but I'm used to that. I don't know. I honestly think
Remember that?
there's not a lot here. So what?
I'm going to disagree with that. I think let me put it this way. I doubt this came from President Trump. This feels like is a comms department call. For whatever reason, there may be a trial balloon to see how this was going to go over. I have to side with the media, with the press, saying that they should have access. Every single credentialed media should have had access to that briefing, whatever it was.
Right, because this happened to us before, too.
Yeah, and
Or
again,
don't call it a gaggle.
Right.
Yeah. What if it was a
You
mini?
want to just
briefing?
invite the pool in? That would be
yeah,
different.
I think
Then
they
just
should.
invite
And
the-
listen, have a briefing. Don't call on certain groups if you don't like the way they ask.
Have
their
a big
questions,
tent.
but at least have access.
One
But
to
I
go.
think there's another element here, which is this happened right after Trump gives a speech
Yep.
in which he goes after the press very aggressively, right? He says, oh, you guys have sources. Well, I don't believe you had the sources.
Right.
He says that basically he repeats Bannon's argument that the press is a corporate media and the corporate media got the campaign wrong, and now corporate media, shut up.
mean,
That's exactly his language.
opposition
Shut
party.
up. So to me, this is beyond like, normally I could be adversarial with Dana as Dana's the press secretary and we're having I see things this
You
way.
wouldn't dare.
No,
No.
not with you.
She'll give you her
too
ice-
sharp, too
her
sharp.
icy stare.
But I got to tell you, this is really threatening. I think this is unsettling. So Greg gives me
No,
the
I'm
look.
just saying. No, I'm just saying. Is it really threatening? We're talking about it. No one's being silenced. We're making a huge deal out of it.
All right,
this
good.
is the hypocrisy of these stupid stories about him complaining about the press. No one ever shuts up about it.
No, but
Well,
here's the
you're
thing.
so
They're the
wrong.
opposition party, and today you have stories that, again, no sources, even as, by the way, the Trump White House has briefings and says, we want this off the record or whatever. But guess what? Stories about Reince Priebus asking the FBI, hey, can you knock down these stories about Russia and intelligence
Is that
communications
true?
with the White
Is that
House?
true?
Juan's
Juan?
jumping the
I've
shark
heard
again.
differently.
Oh.
All right, so bottom line is obviously they had a good day yesterday, today at CPAC, so you want that to be the lead in the message, right, Dana? The president also got the crowd going when he mentioned Obamacare and what he's going to do to fix the disaster that he inherited. Hear that next. And later, a big, huge Bigly announcement coming your way. Plus, Facebook Friday. Post your questions out on Facebook.com/The5FNC.
Back now to President Trump's electrifying address at CPAC today. The president follows through on his promises, and he vowed to a room filled with conservatives earlier there will be a repeal and replacement of Obamacare.
I inherited a mess, believe me. We also inherited a failed health care law that threatens our medical system with absolute and total catastrophe. We're changing it. We're going to make it much better. We're going to make it less expensive. 2 years don't do anything. The Democrats will come to us and beg for help. And it's their problem. It's not the right thing to do for the American people. It's not the right thing to do.
But not all Republicans are as confident as the president that Obamacare will get a full overhaul. Former House Speaker John Boehner threw some shade at the party's effort yesterday.
Well, they'll fix Obamacare, and I shouldn't have called it repeal and replace, because that's not what's going to happen. They're basically going to fix the flaws and put a more conservative box around it.
Okay, Dana, your thoughts? Who's going to get this one right?
Well, I read a quote today from Jim McDermott, who's a big-time Democrat, and he said that the joke around Washington is that the Republicans are going to repeal Obamacare, and they will replace it with the Affordable Care Act.
Very nice. Good job. Good job.
And it is super complicated. I think that they're going to do something, and then the details of that will be revealed. And then you also have the sequencing of the tax reform, and like March is going to be one heck of a month for these guys.
Boy, isn't it? Figuring out how they're going to get Obamacare repealed, replaced, and tax reform all done. KG, some of the things that we've recommended here at this table would be, let's just kill the mandate portion of Obamacare.
Yeah, eliminate the funding
eliminate
mechanism.
the must-do and the penalty phase of it. But then the question is, then how do you pay for it?
Well, how do you pay for it? And that's the problem. And you have a certain segment of the population, unhealthy, that needs these services, and then you're penalizing those that are healthy to say, wait a second, let me do a cost-benefit analysis here. This math does not work out for me. I'm being penalized. I would rather take this share of money and allocate it to other areas of my life that I might be able to use it, that are more necessary for me. So it's flawed in the sense of the way that it is structured to begin with. Now, there's one school of thought, just let it fail. But guess what? Then millions of Americans will be out of, health care. They won't have insurance. So that's a problem right there. Because ultimately, and I don't want if you disagree, this is not sustainable long term, because they do not have the money to be able to keep this going. And that's the problem.
Well, I think the reason they don't have the money is because Republicans have taken away a lot of the subsidies that were going to be given to the health insurance companies intentionally to protect them in case they didn't have enough healthy people signing up. And by the way, I was shocked today, Eric Bolling, when I looked at what Paul Ryan was proposing. There were leaks of his draft proposal, and in it he said, oh my gosh, I thought, Eric Bolling, I hope Eric saw this. He's going to penalize people who don't have coverage. Oh my gosh, Eric, we're back to the mandate.
Back to the mandate.
Back to the mandate that you so hate. I don't know. But let me finish up on this.
I would push back against the penalty portion.
Okay, go ahead.
But there are other ways to do it where you don't need the penalty, which would be provide competition to drop prices,
well,
make
that's
it cheaper,
fine.
And then you can.
But I say the other thing I just wanted to mention as we move along is the town halls this week. I think Republicans saw there's real fury on the street about if you take this away, you're going to hurt. And the polls for the first time are showing support for
all of a sudden, Greg,
Affordable Health Care Act.
It's going away, so they like it.
Dana's corny jokes. We have a new name for you.
That's it's the genius of social programs. They're like getting gum in your hair. It's intractable unless you have peanut butter, and then you cut it out. But it's like
good thing you have lots of that.
But the thing is too, though, for Republicans, you got what you wished for. Yeah. It's an opportunity. It's like now you're there, you can shoot the lion, it's in your scope, you got a clean shot, and now you don't have the stomach for it, because like what Boehner suggests, maybe you really didn't want it. Nobody wants to be reverse Santa. And that's the beauty that's why it's so easy to be a liberal, because you're Santa, and the Republicans are always the reverse Santa. We got to take away the present, but we got to find a better present, because now we're addicted to presents.
All right, let's do this. Let's save some time we have some really cool blocks coming up. Next, the White House is signaling it could be cracking down eventually on marijuana use in America, even in states that have legalized the drug for recreational purposes. That's coming up on the 5.
President Trump wants to make all kinds of sweeping changes, the great disruptor. But will he soon be altering the federal government's current position on marijuana? Yesterday, the White House indicated the president may seek to prosecute recreational marijuana use and sales under federal law. The Obama administration didn't interfere after 8 states and the District of Columbia enacted laws to allow non-medicinal pot use. If the Trump administration does intervene, it would be an interesting move, considering that it's now trying to send transgender rights back to the states. Greg, what do you think of this?
Stupid. And I'm not a pot smoker. I find it actually annoying.
You act
But
like
this is a huge mistake.
Yeah.
It's a product of old destructive thinking, and it directs a huge amount of human energy to a non-solution. You're criminalizing a desire for oblivion, which we all have, and we find it either in alcohol or dope or golf or pets.
Or cable news.
Or cable news,
Or
exactly.
salami.
And criminalizing a desire for it does not reduce the use. It only criminalizes people and helps create the criminalizing machinery like drug gangs. So this is a bad idea, and we all knew that he wasn't, you know, a libertarian, but come on, man.
Well, in fact, though, he said in 2015 it would be a states' rights issue.
Yes.
So it seems to have changed. Dana, Sean Spicer, the White House press secretary, said today it could be linked to the rise in opioid abuse, something I know you care deeply about. But the statistics don't back that up. What do you think?
Well, here's the thing. I don't disagree with everything that Greg said. Also not a pot smoker, never was. I actually,
yeah.
I don't even, I think that it's bad. I know that there are some states that voted for it. I'm not there yet. That's not where I am. But this is what where I think it is defensible, and where if Congress doesn't like it, then they should pass a law against it. So the Attorney General, when he went through his confirmation hearings, was asked, will you prosecute the laws of the United States faithfully? And he says, yes, I will. And the question about this is that Congress has never taken marijuana off the illegal substance books. So if Congress doesn't want the administration to prosecute this as crime, then it should pass a law to do so. Otherwise, I think General Sessions is absolutely within his rights.
But I think that...
And doing what he said he would do.
I think a number of Republicans from California said they asked him, are you going to leave alone the states? And he apparently indicated to them he would leave them alone. But Eric, now it looks like a lot of this is coming from Attorney General Sessions.
Yeah, he's been anti-marijuana for a long time. Look, I've been out there saying, again, I don't smoke pot either, but I'm in favor of decriminalizing it and legalizing it. I think we're in a day and age where it's time to do that. I don't understand
But you like the money
why the
aspect of it,
feds,
too.
why the Fed, the what?
You like the money aspect of it if you
This
do
is
that, put it
reason
into
why
the
I think
revenue
this is
stream.
a bad idea right now. Yeah, I think it should be all about states' rights. I get that also, but now what are you going to do? You have Colorado and Washington who've been doing business in marijuana for years. You have 8 or so other states that are now involved. How many jobs are associated with the legalized pot industry?
How much cost at the hospital?
Are you going to cut all those jobs? Look, I think this is the Department of Justice. I'm not sure Donald Trump is the one who came down and said, this is what I want to enforce. But remember, what President Obama did, he didn't pull the laws off the books. He said, we will defer to a later date whether or not we're going to enforce it, basically telling his DOJ, we're not going to enforce this.
Right, but I think what the Obama people did, Kimberly, was stop the gangs, no distribution across state lines, no sales to minors. So it was kind of saying, you know what, it's up to the states, but we're going to enforce the federal cross-state and sales to minors issues and try to break
Limited
the
enforcement.
criminal conspiracy.
Sure, I understand, but then that becomes a little bit challenging. It gets complicated, and so there was a bit of a limited enforcement because this was not something that they really wanted to do. They did not prosecute and uphold the rules, the laws that were on the books. What you're seeing here is consistent with the Sessions policy and belief, as Dana said. So he's going to do what he feels is right, which is uphold the law. That's the oath that he took, and he's actually going to follow it. In my opinion, that's refreshing because that's not what you saw Eric Holder do. He politicized, the DOJ, and everyone was huffing and puffing about it. And now you see someone saying, "Hey, listen, we are not going to arbitrarily enforce laws, whether we like them politically or not."
One last question for you, though.
Yeah.
The public opinion polls on this are pretty clear. Even Republicans don't want it. They say leave it alone.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's a mixed bag. I also speak, from personal experience as a former prosecutor and seeing this tie-in and this nexus between people who started smoking pot, leading to other drugs. I know there's a lot of research and different opinions on that, but I know what I saw in Los Angeles. I know what I saw in San Francisco. And, it's not just like,
are we going to start
dabble in
locking people up for possession? I mean, we're
I'm not saying possession,
It's
but
great. This
for
is a moral
drug
stance.
trafficking,
Okay.
Arresting people for putting something in their bodies is immoral. It's immoral across the board.
What about people doing
that's
drug
the larger
trafficking?
question here.
And it's included with
You
heroin
lose
and methamphetamine.
you lose the drug trafficking once it's legal.
Well, yeah.
Don't you get it? Prohibition, people. Read your books.
Wow. Okay. Thank you.
Sorry.
Maybe somebody
Don't
ought
go
to
anywhere.
smoke
Facebook
out
Friday's up next.
Yes, it's Facebook. Family Feud. Family Feud. Facebook
Oh,
Friday.
remember we want to be on there? Why aren't we?
Kimberly, don't try to derail this segment. It hasn't even started yet. All right. First question from Karen K. If you could wake up tomorrow having gained one quality or ability, what would it be? Let's go this way, Dana.
I'd like to be fluent in a couple of different languages.
Ah, so you'd like to have the skill without actually having to learn it.
Right.
Oh, very good.
Instant skill.
Instant skills.
add water.
That's going to happen. You know, they're going to be able to download that into your brain.
That'd be good.
Eric.
Does it have to be real, a real quality or something?
No. Could be fake.
Read minds?
Ooh.
Oh boy.
Oh, maybe
Really
not.
want to do that?
Could you imagine? You wouldn't
Maybe
stop.
not at this table.
You wouldn't stop, and then you just jump off. You could hear it. You couldn't be able to turn it off.
But
You'd
by
hear
the way,
everybody.
that's what you deal with all the time.
What do you mean?
Well, because I know, and you tell me about your dreams and the weird dreams you have about me.
Just the
from
dreams
a robot,
that you're
and then
in,
your
Kimberly,
voices in
which
your
happens
head.
every night, by the way. One.
Jeez.
One.
Awkward.
That was awkward. So I guess, you know, it's like when you're a little kid in the back of the comic book, they have X-ray vision.
Oh, geez.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you know, I think of
Charming.
course, but I
Charming
think,
one.
But I think
I
that,
wanted that when I was 12.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Must be that chair.
But I think you know that whole joke about dance like no one's looking. I'm such a bad dancer. I would like to dance and just do
Wait,
things without always being self-conscious.
Wait, Juan, what happened?
What happened? I
Yeah.
don't know. I should have practiced.
Latina.
Kimberly?
I mean, come
Kimberly?
on. I got the Latina dance gene. All right, well, you know, I'm still really all about the invisible thing. Remember one time
Yes.
on Facebook Friday, and it was like, well, if you're invisible, what could you do? And I said I wanted to be like dropped into the center of Raqqa and take out ISIS.
Right.
Be invisible.
You can't use
for
the
now.
same answer.
But I still really want to do that. So what do you want me to
Being
tell
honest.
Yes, or just repetitive. Could be
you? No,
the
I
same
think it's a
thing.
good one. I think
I'd
it's
like
a
to
crowd
get. I'd like to
pleaser.
get things down from a high shelf. Be something that you don't know
You
how
can
often
climb
that
on
happens.
Dana's shoulders.
How often that happens. I'd like to be
You know
less.
that I had to put the plates in our new apartment in the cupboards below.
Yes.
Remember Peter put everything up really high? or
Yeah, then he had to
something?
put it down below.
Yeah.
It's when you're a short person, people think that your apartment's messy. No, you just can't put things away.
You can't reach
So
anything.
you've got all the stuff all over because if you're in a hurry, you just grab stuff.
Crutch,
that your
Greg. You use
excuse?
it as a crutch.
The floor is my crutch. All right. Well, that should be the
Allison
title
like
by now.
that one. Wow.
The floor is my crutch by Greg
Wow.
Guthrie. All right, we're going to start with you, Kimberly.
Laugh
from
track.
Rosanna B. Oh, this is a great question,
Oh, boy.
Rosanna.
Let's see.
Do you still remember the name of your first boyfriend or girlfriend?
Oh, boy.
Kimberly, we'll go round.
Okay, so let me think.
She's going to
First,
break a heart. There's a broken hearts all
Wait, it
across
was me.
California.
I know. I'm trying to think. The first, I don't know. Let me take a pass on the boyfriend thing. Let me see. Girlfriend. I would say one of my first best friends.
No, I don't think they meant it that way.
Yeah,
Wait.
I don't think they meant that.
No, you're not playing.
Boyfriend.
Yeah,
Boyfriend.
But do go on.
I don't know.
Tell us about the girlfriend.
No, but like in
Go slow.
kindergarten, you had like
Oh.
7 boyfriends.
I don't need to know that.
And I was like, will you be my boyfriend? I don't remember the exact order.
All right.
Is that?
One.
I know one was named like Ted or something.
Ted.
Oh.
There you go, Ted.
poor
Ted's
Ted.
watching at home.
Oh,
Poor Ted.
Ted just left his wife. He's on a plane.
he's coming here.
He doesn't look the same. No.
Ted the Greek, not the. Yeah, okay.
Oh, there are more than one Ted. Oh,
Well, do you remember the name of your first girlfriend?
now, do they mean your first lover?
I don't know. I didn't. I only read the question.
Why?
Just go with girlfriend.
What are you talking about?
My goodness.
No, I obviously answered
You're
about
like-
kindergarten, not like.
Kindergarten. Oh no. Whoa.
Actually, Jason
What are you-
came before Ted.
You're like Fred Willard
Yeah,
on Best in Show.
Well, I think you know. I mean,
What if-
I don't know. I don't. You have a girlfriend. You have a crush on a girl like in 6th grade, or
Right?
something?
Yeah, maybe.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
What's her name?
Her name was Sure.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, let's move on, Eric.
Sure
Before
thing. Martha Klein in 5th or 6th grade. I actually.
Martha Klein?
Well, you know her. No.
But she
I
sounds
actually-
sensible like Dana.
She moved schools, and I begged my parents to move schools,
Oh,
and they
that's
let
nice.
me move schools.
God,
What?
that is
Wow.
so
Did it-
you
and
bowling.
how long
Didn't
did
work
it
out.
last?
It never worked out.
What?
Did you leave schools?
No, we just went. You know, we parted.
I don't remember.
you don't remember?
Oh, stop! You do.
I
too.
don't.
She won't say.
No, we were too busy getting straight A's and perfect attendance and behaving.
I can't remember, but I remember how devastating everything is back then. It was like when there was a breakup, it was like the end of the world because your brain cells aren't matured yet to handle that crap. So when it happens, you go like, oh my God, the whole world's going to end and it's awful. And it really isn't. It's the best thing. Anyway.
All right, whatever.
You're going to want to stick around for what's coming.
that it?
No more.
What happened?
They just told me that was enough.
You don't do a good job.
What are you talking about? Because I don't
What
get
was
it.
the other question?
Yeah, what one event in history would you go back in time to change if you
9/11.
could?
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
good.
9/11. Yeah, Holocaust.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. Well, we ended that one on an upbeat.
Lovely.
How about the Trump election?
Oh, God. All right.
All right, it's time now for one more thing. We sure did enjoy that little flashback video too. Very fun. Eric, what do you got?
Yeah,
for us?
that was a good time.
Yeah.
So I'm back on Instagram after a 2-year hiatus. I decided to come back.
I
on
noticed
it.
that.
And I posted the videos, the whiteboard videos, and some of the other stuff. I put them up there, and so I took a bunch of pictures, behind-the-scenes pictures of the last day in the studio. I'll post them on Instagram only, so come on over, follow me. I think it's Eric Bowling.
Because you've been on Snapchat a lot.
Yeah, I've been on everything else, and for some reason I got away from Instagram, but I'm headed back.
You're back.
I'm back.
Good to have you back.
Yeah,
By the way,
it gets
so
fun.
by the
Stay
way,
away.
I was on the Business Channel today, and they asked me for investment advice. Should I invest in Snapchat? Because they have an initial public offer.
They asked
yeah.
you.
That's exactly that was my thought. Why are you asking me? I'm asking
They're lowering
Boeing.
the valuation, so if they get it a little bit lower, it's probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
You do.
Snap's a good.
I won't say why.
Interesting.
That's it. I'll call on myself next. Kimberly, your turn. All right. So at 7:45, or maybe a little bit earlier, or maybe a little bit, I don't know. I'm going to be on Lou Dobbs tonight, so that's going to be fun. And I'm also going to be
show?
in. Yes.
Okay.
And I'm,
Just clarifying.
It's also going to be fun. He was great at CPAC today.
I heard he just killed.
Yeah.
And I mean that metaphorically. He didn't kill anybody.
Exactly. All right. So you were jealous, right? All right. So then I'm going to be on Hannity tonight, in for our
show.
good friend on the show Hannity tonight.
You have a busy night.
It's getting worse by the minute, which is going to be great. And we've got a lot of special guests tonight. Boris Epstein, special assistant to the president. We've got Herman Cain, Matt Schlapp, so he's going to give us all the inside scoop, and he was with the president today. Charlie Kirk from Turning Point USA. Todd Starnes, one of our favorites here at Fox News. And the one and only Geraldo Rivera. So my Puerto Rican brother from another mother. So that should be really
You
good.
should have an argument with him about marijuana.
Exactly. I'm going to bring Bowling for backup because, you know, Bowling he likes to mix it up with Geraldo.
But I think
Yeah, but they're on the
we're
same
on the same
side.
side on this one.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I
You know,
joined
he's
you, but I
very
was banned.
close. He's very close with Cheech and Chong.
You were banned.
Geraldo is. No, I'm not kidding you. No, he really is. You know they're like best friends.
But one's dead.
Well, the one that's
Both alive.
alive.
Are they? Yeah, they're both alive.
Oh, okay.
Yes. You just don't see the other one that often.
Marijuana hasn't killed
No,
him
because
yet.
he is smoking too much pie. He's going to
maybe
leave the
it's helping
house.
him.
All right, Greg, Unicorn
All right,
Boy.
tomorrow night, the GG show, 10 o'clock Saturday. We got Rob O'Neill, known for doing something. Can you guess what it is? It rhymes with killing Bin Laden. And we got Jillian Turner, and we got Tyrus, and we got Kat Timpf. Should be a fun show, 10 o'clock. Check it out.
All the
And
guests going to make it?
Yes, they better make it. Time
Okay,
for.
fantastic.
I hate these people. You know what I hate? When people keep telling you, oh, we got a big surprise for you, we got a big surprise
We
for
did
you,
that.
and then you find out we're moving to a studio. I mean, you're thinking you were at home going, are they going to, is the big news, is the 5 going to go 2 hours? Are they adding a 6th show?
my
Are they adding a
God.
6th member and it's a panda? No, we're just moving studios.
You're trying to get us
You know
more
what's
work.
cool about the new studio, though?
What?
Everything?
Look at the table. Can we take a wide shot of the table? Just take note of the table and the chairs. It's not the same,
But it's the
but it
same.
looks the same.
Can I tell you why I actually really like that table? Because I can fit my legs under it, and otherwise I get always bruises right here on my left knee from this one.
I'm sure the boys are very sensitive to this issue.
I can tell you're just like aching all over.
I have bruises
about
on my knee.
Is that right? Well, I'm not so sensitive, darling.
Why?
it. Dobbs. All right.
None of your business.
Dana. They're not happy with this.
My turn. Okay, I got a little note today that I loved from a little girl. Her name, well, the mother is I think I'm saying this right, Sonia, Sonnia, Sonia Grossman.
Sonia?
Well, it could be
Sonia?
Sonia, but it's like Sonnia. Sonia.
I think it
Sonia.
can
I think it's
still be-
Sonia. Sonia. Okay, we'll just go with
Sonia.
that. She sent a note that her daughter, for her 3rd grade assignment, had to choose a famous American to talk about. Well, she chose Jasper and me.
Oh,
Well, really me and Jasper. But so she did this whole report And she said that I was famous because I was press secretary, and then I'm on the 5, and I wrote a book. And then, this is the great thing, she was able to get the Vizsla of her dreams. She has a new dog. This is Rusty Ramon. And she said that he's the best dog ever. And guess what, KG?
What, baby?
She got 100% on
Oh,
her.
my God. I
Let
love
that be a
top
lesson to
mark.
all the school children out there when you
I
have
don't
a
think it's
report.
fair that you get to bring a dog. All the other kids are going like, "Well, I don't have a dog to bring."
Great weekend. Bye, Studio T.